Good morning. Dr. Dan Yachter, the chiropractor. Happy Sunday, everybody. We are learning by the lake. Dr. Dan Yachter's Learning by the Lake segment. Get everybody with me. I'm going to show off some of my new babies here on the lawn. A mimosa. That is a beautiful tree. Just planted. Gorgeous, gorgeous tree. Going to get to about 20 feet minimum, up to 40 feet. And I'll start off the segment with like showing off my plants and flowers and shrubs and mangoes. Got lots of mangoes coming. Oh, I'm a mango lover, and they're going to be coming. They're going to be turning here. I already got one off the tree, and it was yummy. So that thing is mango laden. Got our avocado, and we got another mango growing like crazy right there. So I will share with you. I'll slice one open. I'll share with you guys virtually, and I got one more to show you as we traverse the lawn here. We're going to talk about something, mapping out your path. The day was May 29th, 1953, approximately 11:30 in the morning. Sir Edmund Hillary summits Mount Everest, the first person, an Englishman, who was knighted after his endeavors, of the first man to summit with the help of Sherpas. 1953. Before that, hundreds, if not thousands, of attempts were made, resulting in death and severe injury. But it wasn't until that day that someone actually was able to summit the beast, almost 30,000 feet. And since then, and especially over the last 30 or 40 years, hundreds, if not thousands of people have made it successfully to the top. But for decades, if not centuries, there were people who tried and continue to fail. And when you read the history of not just before the summit, but even after, especially over the last 30 or 40 years. Hey, Cece, good morning there. It talks about, the history reflects upon the fact of why there was so much failure and then why there's so much success. And one of the things that it's attributed to, the success rate of getting to the top or summiting, we talked about this at the Masterclass, at the Longevity Masterclass, was the fact that, number one, the Sherpas got better, the guides got better. The guides got better interpreting, just getting a better lay of the land, understanding the mountain better, understanding weather patterns better, and certainly over the last decade or two, weather apps, that certainly helps. Also preparing the climbers, teaching them, preparing them prior to the ascent, getting them ready physiologically, getting their red blood cells ready to carry more oxygen, have a higher oxygen carrying capacity. Getting them in better shape, nutrition-wise. I mean, everything physiologically and technology-wise has shifted to make sure that a person going up the mountain is just better. They're able to achieve success, and they just know the mountain better. And so everything has improved. Every aspect for the Sherpa and the climber, the guide and the climbers. And not only that, but one of the things, and one of the most obvious things that they corrected, is putting ropes or guides or cables along the way as you're ascending the mountain, especially at the most deadly part, the final ascent, the most deadly part of the mountain. They put cables that the climbers could actually hook themselves to, and thereby not slip off the mountain and die, especially at the end of the climb or right before they're about to summit. So there have been several improvements, if you want to call it technology-wise, cable-wise, putting a cable up, the most obvious thing you could think of. But all of these different things have changed, but especially the Sherpa. The Sherpa interpreting the mountain, understanding the mountains better, understanding the climb, understanding the climbers. Everything has gotten better. And one of the things that we know in medicine is the Sherpa, the interpreter, can make all the difference in the world. I have patients come through the door all week long holding blood panels, and maybe even x-rays, scans from other chiropractors, and they're confused, especially with blood work. The blood work looks perfectly fine, but the cholesterol level is at 215, and they've been read the Riot Act by their medical doctor and say, you need this cholesterol medication. If you don't, you're going to die, or something serious, something really bad is going to happen to you. Your family members had it. You have 215. You're going to plummet into a quick death. You know, I mean, patients are told incredible things, scary things, frightening things about their health. And again, that's one interpretation. And not having the right interpretation can lead you down the wrong path. Having the right interpretation, it's not just having the data and the analysis or a blood panel or whatever it is that has been done for your health to obtain information and ascertain what your problem may be. It's not just the information, it's which information you get. You could have a blood panel and you're leaving out a bunch of markers, so it's incomplete. It's not just that. Even if you have the right data, if you have the complete information, who's interpreting that for you? Through which lens are you interpreting that information? That can make all the difference in the world. Having the right Sherpa, right? We talk about that. And when we talk about the gut, testing, I can't think of a more important place outside the spinal nervous system to have the proper testing, right? Get the right information. And we talk about the gut. We're going to be talking about the gut next Tuesday, which is the 17th of June. I am going to be hosting and presenting my Achy, Breaky, Leaky gut Masterclass. I've been doing this Masterclass and all of the Masterclasses. Actually, we're getting up to about 30 years of doing these Masterclasses. And my Achy, Breaky, Leaky gut is a critical one. They call the gut the second brain. And so many problems, we've talked about this already on many of these lives, so many issues that many people do not connect to their gut are happening because of their gut. Whether it's a skin condition, autoimmune condition, it could be psoriasis, eczema, lupus, fibromyalgia, thyroid issues, Hashimoto's, Graves, headaches, high blood pressure, depression, hormonal issues. See, these are things that people don't usually relate to their gut. Most people relate bloating, cramping, diarrhea, constipation. People think automatically, oh, I'll have a gut problem. Most people don't really peg systemic issues to their gut, brain issues, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. What type of connection do they have to the gut? And we're going to be talking about this and a lot more. And one of the most common things that I hear from patients when they start consulting with me, probably the most often stated comment is, how did I get here? I have no idea how I got here. I don't know why I have these 10, 15 different things. My body's so broken. I feel like garbage. I have no energy. I'm depressed. Well, I usually tell them you got here because you have the wrong map. And you may have gotten a map of your body, testing of your body, but it may have been incomplete and it may have been misinterpreted. And that makes all the difference in the world. The GI map, I wanted to talk about that for a moment, because most people have never had proper testing on their GI system. Traditionally trained medical doctors, the Western medical allopathic paradigm, what they use, the primary tools of gut exploration, of GI mapping, are what? Colonoscopy, all right? Going up, endoscopy, going down. These are scopes. This is a gross look at the lay of the land. That's what this is. It's a macro lay of the land. Cologuard, very, very important tests. They could be important, but not as helpful as they could or should be when it comes to getting a micro understanding. One of the things that we use at the office, and we're going to be speaking about quite a bit at the Masterclass, GI mapping. I use many, many labs in my office. One of the labs is the GI map, and the GI map is really an astounding test. And what it looks at is what actually is going on in the microbiome. I call it the critter forest, right? One of these high-level macro tests, medical tests, do not. They never pick these things up. So a macro test is an endoscopy, colonoscopy. A micro would be looking at, for example, the microbiome in the way of bacteria, viruses, pathogenic bacteria, viruses, parasites, protozoans, worms, yeast, pathogenic dysbiotic pathogens is what we call them on the test. Yeah, it looks at H. pylori. Do you have these things in your gut? The commensal bacteria, which are the probiotics that should be living in the gut, the indigenous bacteria. How are they doing? Do you have enough of them? Are they wiped out? You've taken antibiotics, you've wiped them out, or you've completely thrown them off balance. How do we get that balance back restored to your gut? Right? So there are a lot of different things that we look at. We look at the digestive organs, pancreatic and gallbladder, liver secretions, how inflamed your gut could be. There are inflammatory markers. There are immune markers that we look at. 80% of the immune system is held within the gut. IgA, gliadin, do you have wheat sensitivities, food sensitivities? Zonulin picks up whether or not you have leaky gut. All of these things could be picked up with proper testing and a proper Sherpa, the person interpreting it, who's helping you to interpret it properly and giving you answers, giving you strategies. But you have to get the right testing first if you really want to understand what's going on. PCR testing is used. It's genetic mapping of the gut. Very, very particular, microscopic understanding of what's going on, what's balanced, what's imbalanced. And we're going to be talking about this quite a bit. How do you get answers regarding your health problems, right? If you're one of those people that says, how did I get here? How did I get here? Well, you could change all that if you have the right map, the right Sherpa, the right interpreter, and the right plan. Critical, right? CC and others, you know that. All right, well, I have one last thing I wanted to show you before we sign off. So this is my last, I got the mimosa I showed you over there. We got planted a maple in the front, a ficus. I like planting stuff, trees. And that's our cypress, this guy right here. Got to watch out for the ant piles. So hopefully this guy takes off. We've been watering quite a bit. That's our, not our little cypress, it's a big guy right there. So we are trying to take more carbon dioxide out of the air, more oxygen into the air, right? That's what we need. Plants are our friends. The trees are our friends. The mighty bars. Good morning. Good to see you guys. Happy Sunday. So I'm going to go ahead and get back inside, get my shake, get ready, get moving. Family's got stuff to do. And I appreciate you joining me. Mark your calendars, June 17th. My Achy, Breaky, Leaky heart, GI mapping. You're going to learn so much about GI health, gastrointestinal health. Again, 80% plus of all of the immune tissue lining from mouth to anus, the IgA, almost all the brain neurotransmitters that make your brain go are produced or stored or both in the gut. The gut is important. Okay, you want health, you want to feel great, you want to wake up feeling great, go to sleep feeling great. You got to have a healthy gut. And of course, we never leave the spine and the nervous system out. That's always a huge part of the equation. That is the biggest part. That is the essential, really foundational to all health and healing. So join us. We got room for you June 17th, 6:30 p.m. That's a Tuesday. Meet me at the office for a phenomenal learning experience all about gastrointestinal health. Everybody have a great Sunday. Dr. Dan Yachter signing off. God bless.